G'day, 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 beautiful people. Welcome again on your Monday evening, Tuesday afternoon, Sunday morning. I don't fucking know where you are. To more just ridiculous bullshit about war dollies. Now, I am joined today by the man who brought a Star Drake to a dragon fight, Mr. Erik. Say hello, introduce yourself, mate.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm Erik. I brought a Star Drake to a tournament.
Yeah, and not
I
just
bought a big horn,
Yeah,
right?
and not just a Star Drake as well, right? Like it wasn't
Yeah,
just a Star; it was a full-on, like Drake cavalry kind of list.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It was the Lawn Extremist Army.
yeah, it was pretty insane, and it was almost it ended up being like the Tournament of Dragons as well, which we'll talk about in a second, because
For
there
sure.
were fucking winged, scaly motherfuckers left, right, and
Yeah,
center. It was absolutely
yeah,
insane.
it's true.
So that was pretty awesome. So that's obviously why we need to talk about your dragons, about the
Yeah,
everything that went on. Also, your deployment method, which I
yeah,
think people will be quite stoked about, because you had a very skillful deployment thing
true.
going on. Um, which I think is very awesome. Like it's a bit unique, It's
Yeah,
not it's your own thing. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
so yes, as always, occasionally for some reason, uh, the size of our little videos are going to pop around and jump for. I don't know why it'll do that. Sometimes it'll make you small, sometimes it'll make me small. It's very
All
exciting.
right.
But okay, wait. Let's just double check that that's working. Can everybody in the chat? Can you hear us? I guess I just want to double check. If you're in the chat, can you hear what we're saying? Because it seems to me that it's taking a little moment and it's having a bit of a freak out. That's okay. It might just be slow starting up, which it likes to do that. It likes to make
Yeah.
us think and work. Um, it's just keeping everything going. Uh, just double checking. We might be a little bit jittery, but it looks like it's coming together now. It had a big old hot mess of a freak out starting up, and now I
Right.
think we're okay.
All right.
It just wanted to get it all together. Let me just double check where. Good. And yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah. Oh shit! Right, okay, there's a lot of people in the chat. There's a few people. Lugnuts to Mad,
Yeah.
good to see you in the chat there, mate. Also, you had a name and you don't have a name anymore. Your name has been traded, and it is now, I guess, like it'd be the nicest way to put that. Uh, so basically, you were Ryan, but then because you've become like such a personality in the chat, you are now just Lugnuts, and there's nothing else we can do about that realistically. Brought three fucking magma dragons, which was crazy. Okay, so apparently they can hear us fine, but the video's lagging a bit, and that's okay. That's all good. I think it just was doing
Cool.
the thing while it was waking up, because it looks like it's pretty smooth sailing now, and we're in the happy place. So liking us to Mad in the chat, BWG Cannibal, Captain Farsight, and all hail the Bloat Toad, or the Blot Toad, or however it is. And it'll just Smolitar, Molitar. I'm not entirely sure how the Magma Dragons did. I don't think they did everything that they were going to do. I don't know, but they were definitely there, and they definitely had a good time. A couple of people in the chat just saying, Erik, that your face has gone micro, which I'll get that sorted in the next little bit and see how it goes. Cool Bunny dropping in. G'day, g'day. We'll have a talk. She and I played a game in the last round. We'll have a talk about that. But Nemesis, there you are. I guess we're let's start with the beginning.
Yeah, that's a good place.
And the beginning, now, normally, I just super quickly want to say to anyone who is waiting for send nudes, there won't be nudes today. I'm very sorry, Erik. There's no nudes for you to judge.
Bummer. The whole star system worked out.
Yeah. It just I guess I'll have to get you back then to do one.
Fair enough.
Basically we're out of nudes. The last nudes have been the last ones have been submitted, and so if you are watching,
Get on it.
It's now time to send the nudes. Because I need more. I need more nudes. More nudes. Not which is a very dangerous thing to say on Twitch, but you never know. Let's start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
You were playing Slanesh.
Yes.
And
that was the original plan, was to take my Slanesh to attack X and try to win. And then
it was,
and then Star Drake happened.
Yeah, it was a pretty competitive-ish army as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty good. It's it's Slanesh. It's pretty
It pretty does everything pretty well. And you were like slingshotting a keeper forward turn 1 and doing all that kind of jazz as well.
Yeah, trying to get a summoning engine kind of going.
It was
fighting every round and get everybody summoned and back in every round, and it was good.
And so you went from that to Star Drakes.
To Star Drake and Desolators.
To Star Drake and Desolators. Okay, now how? I guess would be my question. How do you go from going like, I'm going to be a piece of shit depravity point farmer to I'm taking a Star Drake and 8 Desolators and minimum everything else?
Yeah, well, I don't know. The thing was, I didn't realize that Desolators had gone down to 200 points.
Right.
And then I found out, and then I realized that I could fit 8 with the Star Drake. And I've always wanted to run the Reflecto Dragon as it is at a tournament at some point. That's kind of something I've always wanted to do because I love the dragon so much, and so I always try to cram it into lists.
Yep.
And then once I realized I could fit in an actual Extremis army, I kind of went that way.
Yeah, and so you went, I'm not going to go possibly arguably the most competitive army in the game.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with more.
Do something ridiculous.
Absolutely fucking ridiculous. No, I'm great. I'm great. It's good. It's beautiful. Okay, a few people dropping in the chat. G'day, good to see you all. Grace here, Rob, subscribed for 6 months, so it's a boy or a girl. I don't know. Our hobby baby can be whatever it wants to be. It could rip out of me as an orc. Who knows? But I guess with that decision, right?
Yeah.
Were you thinking like, I'm going to make this good? I'm going to make this competitive? Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that it actually had some legs and that I figured I could go 3-2. I was hoping I could go 3-2.
Yeah.
And so that was sort of my goal, and that's what I ended up with. So, so that was good.
It's not bad. That's pretty good.
I don't know. I decided that I wasn't going to get my Slanesh painted, and I didn't want to show up with like the most competitive army in the world, not painted, and then crush a bunch of people, and then
people would be
just not really feel good about it. You know?
Yeah, right.
Army, I figured I could get it finished painted, and it was cool and it was different and it wasn't what everybody was kind of playing. So
yeah, fair.
I thought it was good. It was actually better than I thought it was going to be.
And yeah, like you said, spoilers. You went 3-2, right?
Yeah, and I had 5 awesome games, and they were all close. You know, I could have gone 4-1. I had a chance at 4-1.
And now, I guess okay. So wait, should we talk about your? What I'm drinking. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm drinking a lovely sparkling rosé today. For no particular reason other than I had a sparkling rosé and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to drink this one. With your list, should we go through your list super quickly, or do you want to start by talking about how you deployed it? Actually, no, we'll talk about your list. Start
with the list.
We'll start with the list and we'll move from there. So your list was interesting, right? Just to say the least. It was a very interesting list. It featured very little battle line. In fact, it featured very little anything other than like maximizing Star Drake. So go. Do you want to run us through the list, and I'll pull the list up while we're chatting?
Yeah, you bet. So I mean, the key to the whole thing is the Lord Celestin on the Star Drake. And so you run no Storm Host, so you run Staunch Defender. So he gets the +1 save and a bubble of 9 inches. So he's normally on a 3-up save, so then he's on a 2-up save, rerolling 1s. And then you give him the Shard Fist Pelt. So on a save of 6 or more, he's reflecting back mortal wounds, and his shield reflects back mortal wounds on a save or on a rerolled 1 if it's successful. And then you have the Lord Arcanum on Griff Charger that has Azerite Halo, which reflects back a mortal wound on a save of 6 unmodified.
Yeah.
So he reflects back a mortal wound on a save of 1, 4, 5, or 6. 6 being 2. And a rerolled, if you roll a 1 and then roll a 6, it's 3 mortal wounds back.
Fuck me. Okay, so
Rend affects the Shard Fist Pelt, so if you have Rend, it's only on a 5-up.
Right, I get you.
Or a 6-up if you have Rend 2. But even with Rend 2, it's still on a 6-up, and then Azerite Halo's unmodified, and the shield always happens. And the nice thing about the shield is that it's a mortal wound to all units within 3 inches of the dragon.
So, okay, wait. So I have a question. Over the course of the tournament, do you think your dragon itself did more damage? Or do you think reflecting damage did more damage? Which do you think?
Oh, reflecting damage did more damage 10 to 1. It wasn't even close.
So I love that he's just rocking along, right? Like the Celestine on the back of the dragon. He's rocking along. And ultimately, he does hot shit. Like, just fucking nothing.
6 maybe, and then they do 15 to themselves. It's amazing.
And I know we'll talk about your games in a moment. But you were telling me about a moment where, while you were playing, a pack of ghouls attacked you from a Flesh and Quartz army. Do you want to just quickly...
30 pack of ghouls, fully buffed with whatever all the buffs are for Flesh and Quartz. Charged the dragon and got every single one of them in. And then completely obliterated their own unit before I had to attack. It was amazing. Because they had no Rend, so I'm reflecting back wounds on a 1, 4, 5, or 6.
Yep.
6 is 2. Rerolled 1 is 2, whatever, and it's to everybody within.
Shit.
And then I'm on a 1-up rerolling 1 save, so I didn't fail anything. And then because of the lantern, you heal on a save of 7 or more. So with the +2, you're healing on a 5. So then any 5-up, you're healing a wound that you suffered previously.
So basically, they killed themselves and healed you.
Yes.
Fuck. I love that it's like the Star Drake is this big fucking massive beast. It's like, I am death on legs. I am as far as person who you reflected 20 plus wounds to from his ghouls. So there you go.
It was pretty funny.
It's
for me.
Gracie Rob agreeing.
It probably wasn't funny.
Agreeing, for the person who was looking at their unit being like, I just deleted myself. Like, it is...
What the hell?
It is fucked. But, I mean, sometimes bad things could happen to that model as well, which I'm sure we'll talk about. Gracie Rob saying in the chat that you basically just charge the dragon in. You don't even fucking attack. You just watch your opponent take their models off.
It's amazing. And then the best part about it is that they go, oh, I can reroll 1s. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. Yeah, reroll the 1s. And then, I can reroll the wound. Yeah, please, reroll all the wounds. Get as many as you can.
Have more attacks.
Please. Like, take one of mine.
Let me give you more. So basically, that's your leaders down. Your battle line, surprisingly, this is going to blow people's minds.
Yeah.
Minimum liberators. 3 5s of liberators. Cheapest battle line Stormcast can do. And then what formed the rest of your Knight Lance charge?
It's 2 units of 4 Desolators.
Yeah, Jesus.
So 8 Desolators.
Jesus. Yeah, that's some concentrated hatred. I like that it's literally a wedge of death and then nothing else. Like, the other 2 characters try to keep up with him just to be like, hey guys, keep working, buff. But ultimately it's like these 9 models of the army.
Yeah, they sit inside the Staunch Defender bubble. So the Dragon's on a 1-up rerolling 1s. All the Desolators are on a 2-up rerolling 1s. And same with all the characters are 2-up or 2-up rerolling 1s. And then they just kind of charge forward in a big pack and fight stuff. It's great. And the best part about it is that everybody wants to fight the dragon. So I never have to, like, chase people because you just sort of stick the dragon out there and I was like, ooh, I can fight the dragon. And then they ram all their stuff into it and it explodes. It's great.
Cool Buddy wants to know in the chat, in your 5 games, how many times did the Star Drake die?
3 times. It died in both my losses, and then it died in one of my victories.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that in just a moment. But so that
Yeah.
was the list that you went from playing Slanesh to going.
Yeah.
I should do this.
Yeah.
And that was obviously the right choice.
Yeah, and the Liberators are actually super important to that list. They're actually one of the most important parts because you can sort of stick them down 9 away as these little 5-man roadblocks. And because they always stick their most important things after your dragon and all your desolators and stuff, the things that are trying to go after the rest of the board can't kill Liberators in one turn.
Yeah, true.
Right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They go kill 2 of them, and then they kill another one, and then they never go away, and then they run into another 5.
Yeah.
And you just keep dropping them out of the sky 9 away.
So
and then they can never get anywhere,
so
right?
unlike,
so then your dragon goes around stomping everything.
So unlike, say, all those Stormcast lists where they put their most powerful units, like the Celestial Ballista or whatever, like that shit in the sky. You're like, no, I'm going to put my hot shit, like the Liberators up there.
Yeah.
Fuck those guys. They're going up in the sky.
15.
You're going to know where my most dangerous units are, and I'm going to put speed bumps in the sky. I fucking love it. That's great. It's like, and also, if I was playing you, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, why is he... No, that's not... I can't... How is he possibly doing that? Like, that's just... It's some kind of greatness. But also the idea of someone being like, fuck, I'm terrified of this Star Drake. And then you going, well, be scared of these 5 Liberators. So, and I also hear that you had a very specific deployment strategy.
Yes.
Do you maybe want to run us through that? Now, okay, wait. Let me just preface this with the question: did you ever start your Star Drake in the heavens?
No, never.
Never. Okay, because you did one thing: first drop every game. And anyone who played him in the tournament that's in the chat, I would love to confirm that this is the truth. How did you deploy your Star Drake?
Well, the important part was to maintain eye contact and then place the Star Drake down, center board, first drop, right in the middle on the line. So that's what I did.
Star Drake, middle of the board.
And it only cost me really, really terribly well.
it only backfired once, so it's a good plan.
So it's not bad.
And also like unbroken eye contact as well, right? Yeah.
Key part.
So you have...
I'm going to put this here. So your deployment, and then they put down, the 5 battle line or something, Although the best part about the whole thing was when I faced the gigantic Khorne dragon, the Vorgorath, the 1,200-point dragon.
Yeah.
I said, look, this is what I'm doing. I'm putting my dragon down, first drop, center board. And then he goes, oh yeah, all right, well then I'm putting my dragon down, first drop, center board. So we both put down the first 2 drops of the 2 gigantic dragons.
With the 2 dragons facing off against each other.
Yeah, facing off. It was great.
Which also, I just love the big dick energy of that as well. Just being like, I brought a Star Drake. Now, I have never seen a Star Drake player drop it first. Never. Wow. It's not done. It's not how they operate. If you're in the chat and you're a Star Drake player and you drop your Star Drake first, you're a liar. You are 100%, you're like, 5 Liberators on the board, this in the sky, this on the board. This, like, your Star Drake is what you drop last because you're trying to work out where you need it, not...
Yeah, well, it's because I want you to fight the Star Drake. So I'm going to put it in the middle, and you can put whatever you want in front of it, and we'll fight. Yeah. It'll be great.
You'll let it come to you.
Except for maybe Nagash. But we'll get there.
Gnomesbane wants to know, did you T-pose to establish dominance as you did it? And Rita Santi says it works 80% of the time, every time, those mind games.
Exactly.
And yeah, I take it. Well, look, you went 3-2. And we'll talk about those games in just a second. But I guess, did you anticipate the list doing that well? Like, you thought it'd go 3-2?
No, I mean, I thought in my wildest dreams it would do 3-2. That was my ultimate goal. And I thought the night before I was looking at all the lists and I was thinking, I'm gonna go 0-5. I'm not gonna win a single game.
I'm gonna run into
everybody
Slanesh.
has mortal wounds. I'm gonna die. Yeah, it was. I did not think it was going to do that
Well,
but it did amazing. Actually, it was. It's incredible how few things can get through a 1-up armor save.
yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, if my army had come up against your army, I couldn't have hurt you. I'd have been cooked
Yeah,
in a heartbeat. Like, it
yeah,
just absolutely decimated.
yeah.
So yeah, I dig it. I like it. I think it's a great play. It's a fun.
Silly.
It's a list that I know. I reckon everybody at some point has written that list in a Zia. You know, like everyone's gone like
True.
Stormcast cavalry army, but very few
Yeah.
have done it. And by your own admission, you almost went 4-0, 4-1 rather.
I mean, I had a chance to. I don't want to say I almost did because I lost the game, right? But I had an opportunity. I feel like in my last game, I feel like I had an opportunity to win, and I squandered it.
Yeah, right.
Badly.
Yeah, fair. Which is a great story, and so we will talk about that. Yeah, we will talk about that for sure. Princess Wigglebottom, g'day. Good to see you back in the chat. Also says next time wear a low cut top. That's also a good way to establish dominance. Maybe just an extra low scoopy.
Just a B. That'd be good.
Yeah, like, I mean,
Yeah.
some people find the scoopy quite confronting. Me, I find it very breezy. It's very quite comfortable, easy to breathe in.
True. It's always hot in those tournaments,
Exactly, right? It's always so temperate. And to be completely honest with you, the amount of times I've been at an event, actually, you know what? I was surprisingly cool at this event, which was a nice change.
It wasn't. That's true.
Lugnos Mad, responsible for 3 of the dragons that were there, says he wanted to fight all the dragons. And I actually think that maybe the 3 Magma Dragon list, even though we know holy bananas, it is possibly the most powerful list that can ever be taken. Lugnuts, I'm sure you would agree. Having met you, I know that you're confident about that. 3 Magma Dragons is very, very competitive. But I guess the thing we need to establish is maybe it's too good. So everyone's spec'd against it, right? Like I think that must be it. Everyone built their list to prep for Lugnuts' list. Does that sound about right to you?
I'd say so. Yeah, I know I did.
Yeah, man, my whole list was designed around if I face 3 Magma Dragons, how do I beat it?
Yeah.
But yeah, can't confirm. He can't confirm it. But show a little side right at both. BWG Cannonball suggesting that you potentially next time could also show a little side sack at board level for the distraction.
That would be good. While maintaining eye contact.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Yeah, because I think it'd be very concerning. People would be like, "What do I look at more?" Which is, but like we jokingly, but I think it's fair enough. Attack X became the Tournament of Dragons, right? Because it was like
absolutely.
So you had a Star Drake and 8 Desolators on their little baby drakes. There was the big Corn Dragon Volgoroth, which you got to pit yourself against. There was a list that was, I think it was second overall or best overall. That was 5 Magmadroths, and went 4-1. Which that's Vanilla Sass in the chat. That was him. I've played against that list and it shit mixed me. Not at Attack X, but previously. It's a good one. So there was that. There was a number of Vampire Lords on Zombie Dragons. A couple of Terrorgeists.
I fought 2.
Yeah. What else did I miss? What else have I missed? There were.
There was a Mega Boss on Maw Crusher.
Mega Boss on Maw Crusher. I mean, I'm sure there was some person who took.
There was dinosaurs.
There was dinosaurs, yeah.
They're sort of like dragons.
There was 3 Magma Dragons in one list, making it, I believe, the most common dragon. There was Archaon on Dorgar, who's just about a dragon now. There was, I believe, an elf dragon that had been converted into something for a list, for like a cavalry list.
Archaon dragon.
Yeah. Archaon dragon. Like, just so many dragons. I'm sure I'm forgetting dragons. There were so very, very many different flavors of dragons. So it became the dragon thing. I think that I almost, next year for Attack X, I want it to be called the Tournament of Dragons. and I want everyone to have to take something with the dragon keyword. Just
Totally.
every list needs a dragon in it. Attack X, the Tournament of Dragons.
Right.
Gnomesbane in the chat is saying that if you see some side Zach, you just accept the loss and go to the bar to ease the memories. Fair.
Yeah.
There was.
I think
That's it. Double two deal. I didn't tell Clint about the things I said last week, which is very lovely. Thank you. Which would probably explain why Clint hasn't had the Australian Mafia take me out, which is very lovely. Very lovely. Oh, there was a Wanderer Dragon thingy as well.
Yeah.
There was there's so many fucking dragons. It was the Tournament of Dragons. Next year, I'm going to it. It was amazing. It's such a cool town as well. I went to an arcade and I won Larry, the Caterpillar, who is my new mascot, I guess. Yeah, sure. Larry the Caterpillar, new mascot. But yeah, I'm also quite impressed that you did as well as you did, given that you had a real rough night just before the tournament. Hey,
oh my God. Yeah.
You got
poisoned at the pub the night before, and tossed my guts. It was great.
Yeah, you were rough as, and then you turned around with a rough list, and you were like, I'm about to push some poo in. But yeah, it was great. The betrayed by gravy, basically. But at the same time, and also because of my worry about your list, I just put a whole ton of arsenic in there too. So
yeah, exactly. I was thinking about that. I'm like, one of you guys poisoned me. You were afraid of my list. Yeah. And somebody poisoned.
I mean, there was 10 of us at the pub. It could have been anyone. Yeah. And you'll never prove that it was me.
That's true, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Sometimes bad things happen to good people.
True.
I don't know if that's you or me, but bad things happen to one of us, so I'm fine with it. Let's have a quick chat about your games and about how it kind of played out, right? So what five allegiances did you play off against?
I played Daughters of Cain in game 1, and then I played Blades of Giant Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played, in the third game was Flesh Eater Courts. And then game 4 was Corn again.
Yep.
There was like 8 Corn lists there.
Mm-hmm.
And then game 5 was, some undead guy. I don't know. Can't remember his name.
But, well, you remember what happened, though, which is...
Yeah, I remember what he did to me. But
Sir Grail, that's you in the chat. Wicked. That's just for those who didn't see last week, a wicked like kind of Corn Crusades army with like priests and the warriors and the knights and everything like that. Really cool Corn list.
Totally. Yeah, it was awesome. Lots of cool conversions and stuff. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was not only was it a sexy list, I love that it was like an interesting Corn list too, right? I was like, fuck yeah, totally. That's awesome.
That was the tightest game of the whole tournament.
Yeah.
Actually, it came right down to the end. It was awesome.
Lugnuts to Mad commenting that you were the air hockey champion of Attack X, which I have no doubt you were. It's a game that revolves around hitting something at something. That there, that's right up your alley. That is your skill set right there. Ed Cool Bunny admitting it. Yes, Lugnuts did dominate. So Grail subscribed. You're a fresh subscriber. You're brand new. We've literally just started gestating our hobby baby between us. That's very special. That's lovely. So your games. In a nutshell, now there are other podcasts and shows that do a much better job of wrapping up all their games. They go very in depth and it's wonderful. That's not this. Give us your game one in three sentences.
Yeah. So it was Daughters of Cain with big hordes of witch elves, which don't have rend. So, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I just sort of set everything up in a giant bubble and moved it forward, and then they smashed into it, killed half of themselves, and then I attacked back, killed the rest, and that was the end of the witch elf.
But how did you deal with Marathi?
I didn't. I just ignored her. Yeah,
Fair.
So at the end of the game, Marathi and nobody else, and then my army. So,
just Marathi by herself.
Yeah, so I just didn't. I tried to do wounds to her sometimes if she was the only person available, but I just ignored her because I can't kill her.
Yeah, fair.
whatever.
And I guess, to be honest, Marathi, it was by herself for a very long time after she climbed out of Slanesh's bumhole.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Used to it, you know. And then the thing, I feel like that's the most devastating thing to her too, is to completely ignore her, is if she's not there, you know.
Because she's like, you bastards, you will notice me. And you're like, you.
Yeah, and then she turns into a big dragon, and you're still like, nah, I don't care about that either.
Yeah, you're just fine. Like, yeah, whatever. You're basic, basically. And that's Sir Grail is basically saying that Khorne will have its revenge, which is
for sure. Rematch for sure.
Definitely. I just love that list, like reading it. And I also love, sometimes you see people and they've named their stuff and you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. But I love that the whole army was named and themed. Sorry, it's a big sidetrack. But yeah, shout out, Sir Grail. Just fucking awesome. That was a wicked list and it made me happy.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was one of the best games.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so first game, Daughters of Cain, which for most, a very tough combo.
Yeah, super terrifying. When I was like salivating, I see all those Mitchells and I'm like, yes. And so just sort of shoved the dragon out and they're like, come get me. And then they did.
You're sitting there looking at them just going, how many attacks a turn do you each get?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. It was like what is it when people, the ASMR or whatever, it's just you being like, oh yeah, how many attacks?
Right up on the microphone.
Yeah, that's it, right up. And it's just someone dragging soft models along the mic, being like, ooh, tell me more about how many knife attacks you get.
Yeah, exactly. So, that was pretty much the game.
Mm-hmm.
It was sort of a short one, which was nice. That was the nice thing, is all my games were short because they were just sort of things happened and then it was over.
Yeah,
and so it was,
I'm kind of impressed that your list is excited to play one of the lists that no one else wants to go near. Anyone else would be like it was actually kind of cool because it took Draki Ganeth instead of Hagnar or Celebron, which I thought was really awesome. But the list itself still fit the mold of what we've seen of a lot of it because I think it's also, I've been thinking about it. I think that list is cool because it's competitive, it's logical, but also it does actually let you run a good variety of units from the book. So I can't blame anyone from taking it because it's become common. It's common because it is a really good, really fun list, and the book almost points you towards it, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it was a super fun game. It was great. I mean, I felt like if I was any of my other armies, I'd have been in big trouble against that list. But up armor save and the 2-up armor save, like, they didn't do, I think they killed 4 Liberators or something the whole game.
Yeah, and you're just like, this is going to be rough. Okay, so game 1, real rough for the Daughters of Cain. And so give it a score. I just want a score out of however you create your own scoring thing, just like for Send Nudes.
Sure.
Create your own scoring system for how much damage they did to themselves out of whatever.
Well, I'm gonna call this one a 4 stars out of 5.
4 out of 5 stars for damage to yourself.
Yeah, to themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, which elves they were up there. They weren't the top, which we'll get to, but
but they were all right.
Yeah, but they were up there for sure.
Okay, so game 1, Daughters of Cain. Pretty tough combo, but still good. All right, game 2.
Yeah. Game 2 was the giant Khorne dragon. So we had our dragon standoff at the beginning.
Which is, it is almost a shame that you two faced each other so early in the tournament as well.
I know, right?
Like, that's a matchup that should have been for the final round for all the biscuits, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So you come up against the big Khorne dragon. You're what was the biggest dragon in Age of Sigmar until it came out.
Yeah. Exactly. So I'm thinking, all right, well, I'm going to fight this dragon, whatever. I'm the Star Drake. I don't care, right? I'll fight whatever. -2 rend, that still puts me on a 3-up rerolling 1s. I'm good, So I go up, and so he gives me first turn, and we're playing focal points. So I go up and take the middle with my Star Drake and then a row of my Desolators, so he can't get into the side of my Star Drake with anything else. And then I've got another pack of the Desolators sitting behind the dragon a little bit, so that they can countercharge anyone that gets into the dragon.
Right, so you're basically setting yourself
up.
up.
The dragon up a hole so that he can get his dragon in exactly just at the corner of his dragon can get into my dragon.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I can take him, right? I'm like, all right, that's fine. I can take him. As long as he just gets into my dragon, I can take him on the countercharge.
So okay, let me just lead with this question.
Yeah.
Could you take him?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I fucking got this, bro. Like, sometimes when you see people who are clearly trying to start a fight And then someone actually like doesn't even hit them, just like slaps them, and they're like, "Oh, what the fuck? I didn't think that was your Star Drake. Your Star Drake was like, it's used to being. It's like that video of that dude who kept beating up everyone like boxing. He'd draw him in, pretend they were gonna have like a sparring match, and then beat the shit out of him. And then one day he played this. He pulled that shit on someone who was really good at it, and they just shit mixed him. That's what happened to your Star Drake.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, so he hit me with the Wrath Axe, and that did 3 mortal wounds. And then he charges his dragon in, and that does 3d3, and he rolls 8. So he's done 11 mortal wounds before he's even swung.
Right.
And then managed to get just exactly 5, I think, to get through on my dragon. And then I countercharged and did 17 mortal wounds to him, or 17 wounds to him. So I got halfway through the dragon. And I feel like if mine had survived and not taken the crazy 8 or 11 mortal wounds before he even got to swing, then maybe I could have taken him.
Yeah, but maybe he was in a position where he only needed to scratch you to finish you off, which, unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. It's just not going to be enough.
Yeah.
But I dig it. I love that came up. I was so excited as well because round 1... we got to see the 5 Magmadroths versus the 3 Magma Dragons. Round 2,
totally.
we got to see the Star Drake versus Vorgoroth. Like, it was the tournament of fucking dragons. I'm still losing my mind. Next year,
really
I hope that Andy, and I'll be chatting to him probably next week, the TO of the event, I hope that he puts a requirement in that anybody playing has to bring a dragon. I'll fucking ally in a dragon. And if I can't, I'll find some way to do it. It was great. It was so good.
It really.
And also, I think we should talk about the bloke playing Vorgoroth. He did pretty good, didn't he?
He was great. Yeah, he was a super tactical player, really nice guy. It was great, actually. That was a super great game. And he sort of just stomped around the rest of my army after he killed the dragon and sort of killed the one unit at a time.
I think in your army, you really only had one thing that could take it out. So after that had died, you were like, oh no, I'm in a little trouble here. So I think he went 4-1. He may have gone 4-1.
Yeah.
Which is...
yeah, he finished like 2nd or 3rd or something.
Yeah, I mean, competitively, let's have a look. I'll just quickly pull up the placings. Give me a hot second here. Yeah. In just battle points. Yeah, in just battle points, he was 2nd. Yeah. 2nd in straight battle points. Now that ties...
yeah, really good.
2nd to 5th is a tie, so it would have come down to the decider, which was like the actual score. Oh shit, Mr. Selwood...
he ran up on me pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, taking like all the points.
Mr. Selwood just dropped in the chat as well. G'day, mate. We were just talking about you, or depending on what the delay is like, we may have already talked about you. But we will be about to, and now you're hearing yourself again. But yeah, it was fucking crazy that Vorgoroth has realistically not been a competitive model because usually he has so many points. But
and he's so big and hard to move around and stuff.
But the feedback that I heard from watching him play, I was like, Nick Fortin was his name, is that he was really like tactically on the ball, and I think that's so cool. But yeah, it's great. I think it's just such a cool like little combo. LLV's chiming in saying that Gotrek counts as a dragon, right? I think that maybe has to be it. You either need to take Gotrek or a dragon.
Yeah, a dragon killer, a dragon slayer, or a
dragon itself. Yeah. So Molitar saying you could run a dragon at the next tournament, but your game has instilled a deep respect for dwarves. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're going to be starting Fire Slayers with Gotrek. Nice. LLV, we don't need to talk about how the Dispossessed did overall. They weren't on the podium. And for that reason, we never need to talk about it again. However, I fucked up Flesh Eater Courts and Slanesh. Barely. Which just... That was interesting. That was very, very interesting. It was... So, you ran into that, and how did you feel after it? How did you feel about the Corn Dragon compared to your Star Drake?
Well, I mean, it was pretty good, I guess. You know, but I don't know. No, it was fantastic. I mean, he completely destroyed my dragon. It wasn't even close.
But
yeah, the irresistible force definitely is irresistible.
I really like that for you. It's like in most of your other games, you had this unkillable Star Drake that fucked up, that just board wide fucked up everything else. Even your knights, even your desolators, I would argue, they were the cleanup crew, right? Like they just came along.
Yeah.
And then there's this one game where this even bigger, like yours was the biggest bully in the yard until that came along.
Yeah, and you're just like, there's always a bigger dragon.
Yeah, until Volgoroth creates something bigger. All right, so game 2, Volgoroth, that was a loss. Talk to me. Game 3.
So game 3 is Duality of Death against Flesh Eater Courts with 2 Terror
I also played this list, and like I have a very newfound respect for the fucking dragons. They're Terrorgeists. We'll talk about it. But yeah. So your game. This was the game where and Molitar, you're in the chat, so I know that you're following along. This was the game where 30 ghouls killed themselves or something.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, I think between what they did to themselves and Battleshock, they killed themselves completely.
The Star Drake just sat impotently and was just like, "Oh, boss, can I even attack?" He's like, "No, don't waste your energy. We spent all this time and money on making you unkillable. Let them kill themselves."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was good. So Bloody of Death. So I set up my entire army on one of the areas. I just left the other area completely by itself because I saw he'd split his Terrorgeists up. So I thought, okay, I'll try to fight one with everything.
Yeah.
So I just did that, and then moved up and took the point, and then he charged me with his Terrorgeist.
Of course.
So he screamed off my Liberator screen that I had put down just in case, and then charged me, and I'm like, oh no, I didn't really want him to get in that quickly, and then hits me with the bite for 12 mortal wounds on the charge, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die again.
This is how it happened
again. Yeah. Right? So it's like the first charge by a dragon, I take 12 mortal wounds again. I'm just like, no, it's happening. And then I saved everything else, and he took like 8 mortal wounds back or something from me saving everything else, and then in my turn, I was able to kill him.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how it went. But I killed him again before he was able to attack me again. So then he was down, and behind him is 30 ghouls. So then the ghouls come in and completely kill themselves and heal me from my 12 mortal wounds back up to like 8 or something like that, right? So then the dragon's like doing a lot better. And then the Desolators were able to go over and fight the other Terrorgeist and drop him. And then it was kind of, then I had the points, and it was sort of...
You were up in the happy place.
But, yeah, but if I hadn't made those saves on that first charge, I was in big trouble, because the dragon was just this close to going down again.
Oh.
It was,
a great game. I also played against that list, and fuck me, Flesh Eater Courts... Yeah. Like, I have a massive newfound respect for that dragon, the Terrorgeist. Just in and of itself. So I had a shooting list with 40 Iron Drakes. So I killed, of the 2 Vampire Lords on Terrorgeist, I killed one of them, I think, turn 1, before it had killed anything. It had screamed off some Dwarf Warriors, but that was it. The other dragon, which I wounded down to like half wounds or a third of its wounds or something like that, twice, healed itself. And, it's just fucking... And then proceeded to remove more than half of my army by itself by the rest of the game. And I just couldn't help but sit there thinking like, fuck, if I hadn't killed that other dragon turn 1.
Turn
3, mate. I would have been lucky. If both those dragons went in turn 2, I would have lost like all my army in a turn. It was insane. However, I think the thing is, for most armies, that Flesh Eater Courts army might roll them. And then there are a handful of I love to talk about like Gatekeeper and Keymaster armies. So Mr. Jack Ballard, who I see in the chat right now, who is commenting that you should have shot the Corn Dragon with your 9 long strikes. That was your mistake, right?
Yeah, exactly. I just didn't have long strikes and hurricanes and Night of Zero. So and
that was it. You just couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it. But Molitar saying that it was an emotional kick in the dick seeing his group of 30 literally kill themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, but also pointing out the trip sixes for bites that the dragon did that popped out like 18 mortal wounds or something on one of your units of desolators, which we do have to remember.
Yeah,
But
that's true. Yeah, that's true. One of the units
yeah.
did get torn apart, but then I
You're
had
just
the
like,
second unit,
"Ah!"
thankfully. They have their breath attacks for
Yeah.
mortal wounds and all that kind of stuff.
In the
This is
same
all
way
really
that
great.
like a fucking vampire lord, like a stabby lord, abhorrent ghoul king on thingy dragon, just rips you the fuck apart,
Yeah,
and then you kill it, and you're like, oh, but he's got a spare. Don't worry, he's got a spare.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
There's
good.
another dragon. Don't worry.
But yeah, like
And
I was saying, sorry. So Mr. Jack Ballard of Rerolling Ones fame, is it? I very much feel like it's like a gatekeeper keymaster army. It's like I've got this
yeah,
shooting drop list that of the top armies in the meta probably rinses them quite easily, and so it's like if you
yeah,
want to win the tournament, I'm the fucking gatekeeper. You have to get through me. If you're Slanesh, Flesh
yeah,
Eater Courts,
yeah. I decided.
yeah, so obviously you were maybe that was your potentially your gatekeeper army with the amount of mortal wounds going on. Though I think your
Yeah,
biggest gatekeeper was the dude who just big dick energied you out with a bigger dragon.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. That's what it was. It was just, well, if we're having a dragon versus dragon,
It's a
that's a bigger
1,200 point
dragon.
dragon. It's two and a
Yeah,
bit times yours.
yeah,
But yeah, so okay, so
yeah,
that was your game 3, Flesh Eater Courts, which I
yeah,
also played Molitar, and it was an awesome game. And yeah, from the Ward Saves crew, but like sweet Betty Dingus, just Flesh Eater Courts rinse you so hard. I was like, oh my god, please stop, Mr. Dragon. The one thing I was actually underwhelmed by, and I'll throw this out there in the chat,
yeah.
Molitar, was your special kingy, the new one, with his little flappy wings, but he can't fly because he's a penguin. He's the penguin lord, the archregent. Because he came in, he stabbed my warden king a little bit, and then he stabbed him a little bit more, but didn't finish him off. And my fucking warden king just swung his hammer and beat the shit out of him in a turn. So I don't want to say that dwarves are the best, but dwarves are the best.
Although he is free, basically,
Oh
right?
yeah, also
So
he's
there is
to
that.
summon like 20 ghouls turn one, and those yeah.
Yeah,
Which those
yeah,
ghouls killed a unit of Iron Drakes and then proceeded to fuck up my allied Knight Incantor. But we don't talk about that. We just want to talk about the
yeah. Exactly. We're talking about when
yeah
the wizard was
1v1.
fighting, right?
Yeah, 1v1 your general versus my general. Turns out my combat general,
Yeah,
when buffed to the shithouse with an artifact that gives him 3 rend and having grudged your dude, so he's like I was 3s rerolling 1s to hit, 2s rerolling 1s to wound, rend 3 damage D3. So I shouldn't talk too much
yeah,
given that I was fighting a glorified wizard, but I will.
yeah,
But I will. Because that's all I've fucking got. That one half wounded dragon tore apart half of my army. Okay, so that was your round 3. Talk to me about your
yeah.
round 4.
The round 4 was the tightest game of the whole
Yep.
tournament for sure. It was so it was against Blades of Corn. So it was all mortal corn army. So it was 30. The main centerpiece was like 30 Blood Warriors, and then 2 units of Blood Reavers. I think it was Gore Pilgrims. I think so. It was 2 units of Blood Reavers, the Blood Stoker, Blood Secrator, 2 Slaughter Priests, Corn Lord on Juggernaut, and whatever the Juggernaut riding guys, the Skull Crushers.
Yeah.
But they come I think so. I think there were 6. Yeah, I think it was a double unit of 6 of those guys, and I think that's it. Yeah, so 60 wounds on a 4-up save with the Blood Warriors. It was terrifying, and they're all buffed with they're on a 3-up save and they're +1 to hit, and they're rolling everything because of the.
The thing that I dug, like looking at the list on paper, I was like, this list just shares buffs like crazy, just one over the top of the other.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's fucking awesome, right? Like it's not a list that's dropping anything easily, and actually, to be honest, it touched my heart. It actually touched my heart, and because it reminded me of the way that I play my Dispossessed. because the Dispossessed are
Yeah.
obviously rocking with a ton of overlapping buffs, which Cool Bunny, Molitar, anyone
Right.
that played over the weekend could attest to. Like, you can't, you kill a unit,
Yeah.
you take away only one of the buffs, but
Yeah, that's the problem, right? You need
yeah,
to kill the whole
yeah.
like stack of heroes
Effectively,
in
you've
order
got to
to
kill like a unit and then the two heroes and then the unit they would be buffing, and so it's offering your opponent a ton of target
Yeah.
priority, which it looked like this army did. Now, I was really hoping I get to play it. I didn't
Yeah.
get to play it because it felt like it was an awesome toolbox.
Yeah.
And so yeah, what was your experience of that game?
Yeah. So I mean, the nice thing about my army is that like I don't even care. I don't want to decide what the fights are. You can decide, right? So I just sort of pushed up with my big wedge of dragon. But he managed to. So he went first, and he had I forget what the thing was. He could run and charge. Yeah, he had something where he could make the Blood Warriors run and charge, and we're 18 apart, and so he can make them run and charge. Spends a command point for a 6, so they go like 14. And then they can charge, and it's like 4 or whatever. So they get into my dragon and my desolators top of 1 before I've got all my buffs up. But they're Blood Warriors, and they don't really have rend, right? So they did the gore axe guys or whatever did, whatever it is, maybe 4 wounds or something like that. And then that was kind of it. They killed a couple of their own guys, and then the dragon, just ate all 3 Goreglaive guys. Right, because you get to roll over their wounds and you get to just swallow whatever individual model you want. So the 3 Goreglaives, which is the only thing that were doing damage, I ate those on the first turn, and then we just kind of sat there and ground it out for like 2 turns, and then I think on the next turn I was able to bite 3 guys in a row and break his coherency and wipe half the unit, and then I think the rest of the guys, there was like 3 guys left or something like that on turn 3, and then on the other flank. He failed a 10-inch charge with his Skull Crushers into my Desolators. So then my Desolators got into his Skull Crushers.
It was basically 2 units of Knights, and it was like, one of us is going to charge and fuck up the other unit.
Yeah.
And it was waiting to see who blinked first.
Yeah, exactly. So that worked out really well for me. If he'd made that 10-inch charge and did all those mortal wounds, that might have been obliterated. But luckily I got in, and then after, I think it was 2 turns, and he got his War Shrine in there, so it was there's sort of 2 big grindy battles kind of happening at once. And so we're tied on points. And then we both kind of realized that I have my Lord Arcanum on Griff Charger that can ride the winds and get to his objective that has nobody standing on it. Right? And so you could tell we both sort of realized it at the same time. I sort of both started looking, right? And then look at my Arcanum and then look at the objective, and it's like, okay, oh no. So then he starts moving his his priests, the slaughter priests, back towards the objective. I'm like, oh no. So I ride the winds over there, and then he hits me with a Wrath Axe and a Blood Boil, and I'm dead, right? So I don't make the back. That's my big play. But meanwhile, the entire game, my Griffhound has been running all the way around the border of the game, heading
just
for his
basically
other
running
objective.
around with. I always like to imagine that there's a unit in a game with a tiny little banner that just says, "Please don't notice me." That's just slowly sneaking around. Yeah, that was your Griffhound.
Yeah. So then he runs over and takes the other back objective to put me ahead on points, and then and then he charged in on his turn with his only guy that was close enough, which is the Bloodstoker, and only did 1 wound and didn't kill the Griff Charger, so he didn't get the objective back. So then it was.
And you were like, I have 2 wounds and your objective, and you're like, yes, and I'm a hero with 5 wounds, and I didn't kill you. So this Griffhound is basically just pissed on this objective and marked its territory, and the
end of the game. It was just like one of those like comes down to one thing right at the end of the very last turn kind of thing. It was great. It was such a tight game.
And see, that's what I really like as well. Like, so my game against Cool Bunny, playing a very fucking rough, and very cheeky. I will also very cheeky Slaanesh list. And I got to say, mad respect both for her as a player and Slaanesh as an army, because I reckon I had the list that was a perfect counter to it. I had a lot of teleporty shenanigans. I had a lot of shooting.
Yeah.
And I took off a keeper turn 1 with my shooting. And then we don't need to talk about how many points of mine the other keeper took off in a single fucking turn. But basically, our game came down to turn 5 priority. Whoever won turn 5 priority won the game. And because if the way I played, I was like, shit. So for those who didn't go to the tournament that aren't in the know, every mission had a secondary objective, and the secondary objective was worth 3 points, but 3 victory points added or subtracted from your score, depending on what it was. And in this one, you had to kill a unit. And in turn 5, it literally came down to, if I win priority, my dwarves that are tunneled in the ground have a shot of popping up and shooting off your unit that I need to kill to get those points, because they were hidden in the back corner of the board. But if you get priority, you zone me out and I can't win the game. And it was such a tight game, and it came down to a priority roll. And to be honest, win or lose on a priority roll, that's like why I love Age of Sigmar, because genuinely, even though I had an army that I felt played really well over Slaanesh, I reckon that game, I felt like I was constantly trying to answer Slaanesh's questions and being found wanting. So, and it was just like unrelenting. And the thing is, my list has like, I think 16 depravity points to give up.
Right.
I mean, she still summoned a hero and 30 demonettes and had some more left over. But it was such an awesome game. It was a really tight game, which I also actually felt like my game against Flesh Eater Courts, which is where I'm like, fuck, Flesh Eater Courts and Silver and Slaanesh are so above and beyond everything else. Because even when they come up against a list that is their like logical counter, they still do all right.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not totally
Gracie and Rob in the chat asking how many drops was my list. My list was 2 drops. A formation and an ally, whose only job was to cast the Bringy Dingy. And after that, I was like, fuck off. You're 120 points to deliver me 1 spell a game. Sir Grail in the chat, all caps, pretty raging about that damn Griffhound and saying that of everything, that was the bane of his army.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, forget the dragon.
Right. The dragon didn't win the game. It was that fucking little Griffhound that snuck around the back and went and messed you up. But okay, so wait, sorry, we forgot to do it. I had that brilliant idea. Round 1 against the Daughters of Cain. Out of 5 stars, the amount of damage to itself. Game 2. Your game 2 against the Corn Dragon.
Yeah.
Out of 5 stars, how much damage? No stars.
No stars. None.
It was negative 5 stars because that army did no damage to itself and did a ton of damage to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
no stars. Okay, game 3, Flesh Eater Courts. How many stars of damage to itself?
That's 5.
5 out of 5.
All day long. Yeah, killed the Terrorgeist and 30 ghouls. Without having to do anything.
And game 4 against the Corn 2.0.
I'm going to call that 3.5.
The interesting thing is, your list is built around the power of that Star Drake. And when you were describing that game to me, you mostly were talking about the Desolators and the Griffhound. The Star Drake it's almost like, you know in those movies where the hero, the movie that it's actually about some dodgy piece of shit nothing, and it's the heroes in the background. Your Star Drake was the hero. Did the Star Drake survive that game?
Yeah. No, he died in turn 3 or bottom of 4. Yeah, top of 4, bottom of 3.
Okay, so the Star Drake went down like a sack of potatoes, and the Griffhound picked up the mantle and was like, so Grail Warcore in the chat immediately confirming that apparently the dragon died turn 2, but the Griffhound was unkillable, which is awesome. Cool Bunny in the chat. So I had an Unforged in my army. For those who don't know an Unforged, I'm not going to explain it to you because I've had way too much sparkling rosé. But just Google it. It does double damage against Chaos. And my Unforged, which is the old Gotrek model, so I called it the Mini Gotrek, killed 34 demonettes. Just solo. He killed the entire unit of 30 with a little bit of help from a couple of other units and a lot of help from Battle Shock. And then she just summoned another 30, made her charge roll, and just threw another 30 at me. And he killed another chunk of them too. So he did 32 or 34 plus, I think it was like 11 and then 7 in Battle Shock. I got to say that Mini Gotrek, the Unforged, was a bit of a savage against Demonettes, which was great. It helped that he was standing in a forest, so he had a 5-up save instead of a 6-up save, because he survived their first round of hatred on 1 wound. And part of the damage he did was the second time the second 30 ran in, he attacked and killed a bunch. They attacked and killed him.
Yeah.
And then he does, because he does, he doesn't go again, but he does mortal wounds when he dies on a 4-up. And he then carved up a bunch of them. I think he did like 6 mortal wounds or 5 mortal wounds as he died, which was crazy. But yeah, it was that was kind of cool, and it's always fun finding, because the Unforged is a nothing character in my army. Probably, I think of all my other games, he didn't do shit except die. He charged a unit of ghouls and died immediately before he'd done anything. So he's not on top of his game. But then in that game, he just went fucking ballistic. And like, this was over an objective as well. So he single-handedly defended an objective by carving through every fucking ghoul, every fucking demonette in range. So we'll take a quick break before your game 5, and we'll see. Sorry, just in the chat, someone's saying there's no such thing as too much sparkling rosé, which I'm fine with. I probably shouldn't be drinking after the amount I drank over the weekend, but that's okay. And someone asking if I'm planning on getting Gotrek himself. I didn't buy Gotrek prior to him coming out because I was sure I'd be able to pick him up at the event, and then none of the retailers at the event had him. So I am still without Gotrek, and it's hurting me. And I have roughly 3 to 5 days of work before I'll have a chance to go and pick him up. So I'm in a bad way right now. I'm in a Gotrek-less existence, but I can't wait to put him in my soul. I'll probably sleep with him, to be honest. Not in sleep with him like you'd sleep with a teddy bear, not sleep with him like you'd sleep with someone you met on Tinder. But yeah, I think at this point in time, like, I think it's cool to reflect that Attack X is possibly the coolest event I've been to as far as deployment goes. Because one of the things I hear people complain about, and this is something that every event's different, and that's really, really cool. I'd love to get your opinion on it, Eric. Attack X had no terrain features. So terrain was cover and blocked line of sights and stuff like that. But that was about it. It was awesome during deployment because I was genuinely looking at it going like, okay, lines of advance, cover, all of this. But the random stuff we rolled up, you know, like in other tournaments I've played in, you roll up arcane, you roll up other stuff. And you look at it and you're like, whoever wins is going to take the side with arcane, either to have it or deny it, or the side with commanding to get an extra command point. Not having that, I found really awesome, because I was like looking at the board and that was it. But did you like that? Were you not about that? Like, where did that fall for you?
I prefer it. Yeah, I don't like using the terrain rules because I always forget them, and then they're important, or I don't notice them. And I had a terrible experience at LVO 2 years ago where they used to have the terrain feature where on a 1 you can't do anything.
On a 2-up you re-roll your wounds, on a 1 you do nothing.
Yeah, so I'm facing Archeon and Fate Weaver at LVO, and I've got my Tzeentch list with my 30 Zangors, and my 30 Zangors can get to Archeon and just rip them apart, and then I'm going to win the game. And then my opponent goes, that's mystical or whatever, you have to roll a thing. And so I roll the dice, I don't roll a 1, and he goes, I'm Fate Weaver, that's a 1. Your Zangor can't do anything this turn. And then, and then I lose the game.
Yeah.
Right? So I was just like, so ever since then, I'm like, I don't like terrain features. I feel like it's janky and it's extra rules and everything's so complicated as it is with like splitting out sixes and everything else that Army has now that I feel like that's enough. You know, it's hard for everybody to remember all the rules as it is, and I just like it. Then you can focus on your own army and your own tactics. and you're
To
not
be
worrying
honest,
about.
if I run
which,
an event, which
yeah.
maybe I will, I don't know. I'm tempted. I'm very tempted to run an event, but it would be ridiculous, and I would punish everybody who chose to go to that event. But I'm almost tempted to say, like, round one, every piece of terrain will have the same effect, but you won't find out until the game starts. You know, something like that, because then it's like, cool, you look up one and you know it applies to the whole board, or something like that. And I think that could be kind of interesting to see. Molitar's ducking out. You're heading to the pool? Shit, that sounds all right. It's way too cold for me here.
Yeah.
I might just fill a tub up with my rubber ducky and slip into that a little bit later, but definitely not the pool. But yeah, have a lovely one. It was nice to meet you. It was awesome to play a game against you. And I won't lie, I'm super stoked to have beaten Flesh Eater Courts. When I totally. From this tournament, I took away a win over Flesh Eater Courts and Slanesh, and I lost against Skaven. But if I could have nailed that trifecta of terror and beaten the three of them, I would have been so fucking happy. I didn't, but it was lovely to meet you. It was an awesome game. But just quietly, I'm also super stoked that I won. It was nice. It was nice to be like Flesh Eater Courts. Fuck you. However, it was still too close a game for me having the polar, like the perfect counter to your army. Apparently Andy's in the chat. Just went for a run, came back to have a drink and finish watching the show. What a good way to do it. That's all right. Montar saying, and what I think is quite a cool way of saying it, like the terrain rules should perhaps be narrative, which I think is a cool concept.
Spooky woods, and everyone's got minus one bravery.
I dig it, and I think that there's great ways to use it. I'm a little bit disappointed maybe in the expanding of it to like 12 different terrain sets now, because I am never gonna know it. I'm never going to know the size, if that makes sense. Like, I'll be like, okay, cool. I'm never going to remember all 12 of these. It's 12 more rules I need to learn. Okay, so game 5. Let's now.
Yeah.
We've spoken about your game 5. And I'm not going to say anything because I would like you to present it to everybody. What happened in your game? Because we spoke, and I want to say I could have saved you this.
We did.
We spoke before your game, because I was like,
we did.
I was talking to, I think I was talking to Cool Bunny. I was talking to you, Cool Bunny, because you'd played this list, and the same thing happened to you. And so what did I say to you? What was our conversation before your game started?
Yeah. So before the game, I'm like, I'm playing the Gash. It's, it's going to be great. He's got 60 zombies, 40 skeletons, and no spell portal. I'm stoked. This is going to be great. And then you said, are you sure he doesn't have the spell portal? And I'm like, oh, yeah. I read his list twice. No spell portal. We're good.
All right. I was like, maybe it was a different Nagash. And so, deployment.
Yeah.
You said that every time Star Drake, front and center, deployment 1, unbroken eye contact. What did you do?
Yeah. So I told him, look, I'm going to be putting my Star Drake down and I'm maintaining eye contact. And then he's like, all right. So I do it. And I put the dragon down. We're playing Total Commitment. So we're 22 and a half inches apart. And I don't know, Total Conquest, sorry. So I put my dragon down in the center on the line, just like I said I would do every game. So I do that. And then he sort of goes, how far apart are we? And he grabs his tape measure. And he just sort of goes, 22 and a half. I'm going to put down the Gash. And so he puts down the Gash exactly opposite my dragon.
Yep.
On the line. And I'm sitting there going like, that's weird. I would think that if you had Nagash and 60 zombies, he would be behind the zombies.
Curious. You would almost only do this if you perhaps had a 50% chance of removing the Star Drake turn 1.
Yeah. Almost like that, right? So I'm like, oh, whatever. And so we keep deploying, everything's good. He goes, okay, I was 4 drops or 5 drops or something like that, and I was 8. So he goes, okay, I'm going to take turn 1. I'm going to cast the spell portal.
Right.
And I reach into my pocket. I just pull up his list, and I look down, and at the very bottom, the Umbral spell portal, 70 points.
And at that point, It's that moment where it's like, it was at that point Erik knew he fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he offered me to do either the hand in the die or the dice in the hand or do a roll. And foolishly,
No,
I
you
said we
always
should
go
roll.
the dice in the hand.
And yeah, you always go the dice in the hand because then you can game it,
Yeah.
right? You can't game the dice. But yeah, so then he killed the dragon top of one.
The dragon is the list.
You know, it's the +1 save. It's the reflecto stuff that happens. That's the only thing I can use to kill those hordes because they take forever because there's 120 zombies and 40 skeletons. It's 160 wounds that are coming back from grave sites and coming back from Nagash, and they're constantly coming back.
And you've also lost your only model with fly as well, so you can't pop over stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm screwed, right? So then, but we're Stormcast Eternals. We don't give up, right? So we played it out, and it was down to the very end, and it was we were about to play for a draw or for going to kill points, which I would have lost, because I kept my Liberators in the sky. He couldn't advance off his objectives because he only had 3 units, right? He had 3 units. He can't leave his objectives.
Last week when I was looking at the lists, that was actually the thing I said. I think is the great weakness of that is when you're only got, and it's where dispossessed players go wrong all the time. Dispossessed get massive discounts for big hordes, so people take like a unit of hammerers and a unit of iron drakes and 2 units of warriors all at like 40s and 30s, but then they find themselves, they're like, oh right, I can't leave my objectives, so
I have to sit guys on an objective doing nothing for 3 turns.
So you were effectively like, cool, you need to leave a unit on each of your objectives, otherwise I'm coming in and I'm stealing them.
So he has to leave his whole army back, and then the 1 unit in the middle is fighting my my dragons, my desolators. So they go in, and they're fighting zombies forever. And then Nagash is making them -2 attacks, and -2 to hit, and -2 to wound, and -1 damage. And so they're not even killing the zombies; they're just sitting there. And the zombies can't hurt them because they're now getting the warding lantern, so they're on 2 up rerolling 1s and healing from the zombies.
But they're not
so
reflecting wounds the way your Star Drake is. Yeah.
Exactly. So they're not dying, but we're stuck there. And then his other units are stuck on his objectives. So we just sort of had this kind of standoff until the final turn. And it basically came down to him needing to get his secondary to get the 3 points. And the secondary was kill the weakest model. And the weakest model in my army is the Gryph-hound.
The Gryph-hound that I'm sure Sir Grail is in the chat being like, that fucking Gryph-hound.
Yeah. So you'll be happy to know my Gryph-hound moves to the very far corner of the board. Like my right-hand corner, very, very corner. And then on turn 5, Nagash moves up his full, or on turn 4, he moves up his full movement. Turn 5, he casts the spell portal. And then he casts the spell, casts like an arcane bolt or something through the spell portal and kills the Gryph-hound on 5 and wins the game with his 3 extra bonus points.
Still.
Yeah.
I was about to say, the thing to take away from that is the fact that even without the dragon, you still almost forced the miner.
Yeah. But I also killed 0 units.
That's
I didn't kill it. I killed a few zombies that all came back, and that was it. I didn't kill anything
which, to be fair, if the dragon had been alive, that was pretty much the only way for you to get through those hordes. You kind of needed it.
Yeah, exactly. I needed him. But, it was, it was heartbreaking. because I knew I lost on the very first action of turn 1.
Well, okay, so this is a fun fact, right? For people who play against Nagash, let's just skip over the part of my life that leads to me knowing this. But the trick where I used to do this all the time, where I'd give someone something to keep in their hand, and then I'd ask them to bring up, like, put it behind their back, put it in whatever hand, bring up both their hands, and I was like, I bet I can find it. And the first time they do it, when you're trying to hide something, you actually focus on that hand. Which means if you watch their body language, the 2 things to keep an eye for them is the way that their head is orientated, because naturally they will always slightly, like by a bee's dick, they'll slightly turn their head to the side that they're trying to conceal. And that hand will raise slightly higher than the other hand. Because you're not thinking about the other hand, you're thinking about that hand. So to like do it flat, it's like you kind of bring it up, and
Right.
you'll see one hand go just a bit higher and then settle to be balanced with the other, and then they'll make eye contact with you. That's the thing. It's like whoa,
Right.
yeah. So if you do that, don't do the dice. Ask for the hand, because unless someone has watched this show, and right now between YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, there's only 48 of you. So only those people will know. Or the people that watch the show afterwards, which it's really hard to track, or if I get my ass together and put the podcast together, all the people listen to that. But whatever, the hand that goes slightly up and that their head is slightly orientated towards is more than likely the hand that has the dice in it, which means you pick that hand and you live. So never go the dice.
So I start playing gash and then practice that move,
Basically take the gash. But then if you know someone has seen this show, they'll try to dick you. They'll play the other one, and you pick the hand that doesn't go as high, and you're like, yeah. And then you're kind of in a position where you're like, all right, fuck, well, I'm in trouble. But Gracie Rob saying in the chat that is fucking awesome, though, that like it's a good story because it started with a loss and ended with almost scraping it back to a minor, which is good. Okay, so obviously of this one, models killed of its own army out of 5. It's a 0.
Yeah, 0. Yeah, negative, whatever. Negative.
Yeah, as many negatives as the star system can go to, you gave up in this one. Yeah, good. Yeah. Appropriate. Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's not true. That's not true, actually, because I cast the Halo on the Desolators, and I did kill a bunch of zombies, so I'm going to say 1 star.
Okay. Yeah? 1 star?
Yeah. Yeah,
1 star,
actually
that's
1
right.
star. Yeah, because I still have the 1 spell that I could cast on.
Lugnuts to Mad is saying in the chat that every time you fight Nagash, they put their hands behind their back. Then insist they raise them in front of your face so that you know there can be no shenanigans because you don't trust the geriatric Nagash and all of his random death shit. Because you never do know. Like sometimes Nagash pulls stuff out of his bumhole, and you know he's been dead for a long time, so he's not really the most coherent. But okay, so that was your games.
True.
And I guess, so my question is, would you take this list to another event? You've played it, and for all intents and purposes, you played 5 very different armies. So,
yes.
I guess, my question is, would you take it again? Would you change it?
I think the only thing I might do is I might do Ignax scales instead of the Shard Fist pelt. Because it does remove a significant number of mortal wounds that I do back, but maybe 7 to 10 over a game versus a 4-up versus mortal wounds, which is the only thing that can kill the dragon, which means I probably never lose the dragon
unless you deploy it in range of a spell portal like bad stink finger that takes it out.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But the other thing that can kill the dragon is mortal wounds, right? So that's the only thing I might change. But I had a great time playing the list. It was super fun. All of my games were 5 turns. They were all super tactical. There wasn't a bunch of boring dice rolling. There was like just stuff happening. I don't know. It's just a really fun list. I really liked it. It's simple. Everything does what it says on the War Scroll. You don't have to look up a bunch of rules. It's really easy. It was fun.
Let me just quickly pull this up here. Now, this is information that Mr. Selwood, the TO, and I are going to present to everyone and talk about in a future show. But for right now, if I was to have a look at it, like overall, where are we? So you were 5 points off of 3rd place, 6 points off of 2nd place, and we don't need to talk about how many points you were off of first place, but it was like 11 or 12 or something like that. So your ridiculous list very nearly. Like if potentially if you had maybe, and I don't want to rub this in too much because it is brutal. It's like
we all know.
If you had deployed 1 inch off the line, 1 inch off the line in your 5th game, potentially we could be talking about your Star Drake taking it off. Which
because minor, that's an extra 3 points.
It's a massive difference. Cool Bunny is saying that has always been presented with the hands and has picked wrong and hates being responsible for your decisions. You decided to play Slanesh. That is a decision you're responsible for. And our game was too close for me having like the perfect. Like you had rock and I had paper, and you still won, like almost won by a priority roll. That was it. Not okay. Not okay. Princess Wigglebottom saying I need to drink more rosé. I have rosé. I am still drinking. I'm very sorry for going so long without a drink. Lugnuts is drinking a cider. Cool Bunny's drinking nude soda, and asking us not to judge you. But you did point it out in the chat, and you're a Slanesh player, so I think that's like you're just whipping yourself, being like, "Don't judge me."
Yeah.
Mr. Selwood's drinking brown ale. I love how alcoholic this chat gets. If you are listening to this show back, if I ever pull my finger out and turn it into a podcast, I like that most of the viewers are drunk. Okay, so you think you'll play the list again. You'll change it up to Ignax Scales, which, to be honest, is a really good move, given how the only thing that's taken out that Star Drake is mortal wounds most of the time. So, yeah, fair.
Yeah.
But other than that, would you run the list identical?
Absolutely. Yeah, the Desolators were great. They're really hard to kill. They put out a decent amount of damage. And
now, we touched on this on the drive back from Kamloops, which is a beautiful place, by the way. Kamloops is gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I asked you, like, why Desolators over Fulminators?
Yeah. Well, number one, they're 40 points cheaper. That's the main reason. So I could fit 8. But the other thing is that I found I was running Fulminators, and they're 3 damage on the charge, but then they go to 1 damage.
So basically, Fulminators are they're the person who, oh god, the bottle of wine is empty. Okay. That's where it's more that I'm realizing that I've drinking a whole bottle of wine in an hour and 20 minutes, which is yeah. Okay, let's not talk about it. Let's just move on. It's more that they've got the staying power rather than the punching power, like that hit.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're all about the armor save, right? And the other thing is the Fulminators get the +1 to save against shooting, but you're already next to the Star Drake on a 2-up rerolling
It's
1.
not going to
so
change
it doesn't
anything.
matter.
Like what happened with your game against the Grail. Found yourself in a situation where you're like, well, if this is going to be a drawn-out combat, those Fulminators lose it 9 times out of 10 because they've got nothing after the charge, whereas the Desolators can just keep hitting.
Yeah, and so you basically need to run a Knight Heralder with them so that you can retreat and charge back in, right? So then they're 40 points more, so you're looking at, like, for a unit of 4, you're looking at 180 extra points to do almost the same thing, right? Like, they're almost the same unit. And the other one's just more for no reason. You're hitting on 4s with the Riders, which is not great, instead of 3s versus the other ones. That's the only kind of thing that isn't amazing, but you're damaged 2 all the time.
Right.
And you get bonus attacks for being in larger units. So being in a unit of 4, you get +1 attack. Being in a unit of 6, you get +2 attack.
Would you ever be tempted to run like a unit of 8? No?
No, not at all. Even with a unit of 4, a lot of times I only got 3 of them in. So you're paying 200 points for like +1 attack. Right? So you get 3, and so say you only get 3 in, you get 3 extra attacks with a hitting on 4's weapon, and you paid 200 points for it. It doesn't seem like it's worth it.
It's going to leave you hanging a lot.
To me. But I think the 4s were great because they could last. They had, 20 wounds on a 2-up rerolling 1s is a lot. And they can hit pretty good, and their breath weapon is everyone gets 1 shot on a 4-up. It does
That's true.
More
and so which I guess
pretty good.
Just to play devil's advocate, if you were playing against a Grail where your 4 went into his 6, I believe, Blood Crushers, if they were Fulminators, they probably don't win that. They have a really good turn 1, but if they grind out for another 2 to 3 turns, or like 4 rounds of combat, the Fulminators have got nothing after that first round, whereas the Desolators can keep hitting pretty decent. Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing about the list that I forgot to mention, is that the Star Drake command ability allows you to reroll wound rolls for your Desolators Dracoths. And they do, on the 6 to wound, they do D6 damage. So you can fish for those 6s by rerolling your misses.
I'm not going to get through the armor save. Like a fucking Vermin Lord Corruptor with a Sword of Judgment. Like, I'm just going to reroll all of my hits, even the successful ones, looking for 6s for the D6 mortal wounds.
Yeah, and so it's great because then you can get some D6 damage. So you get a few of those in there, and all of a sudden you're doing 2 attacks with 7-8 damage or something like that. all of a sudden
Quantity,
they
not
become really
quality,
hideous.
babe. I mean, quality, not quantity. The other way around. Fuck you, Rose.
Yeah.
You've destroyed my ability to make words. Well, speaking of alcohol, though, everyone in the chat has just chimed in with what they're drinking, which I love. I love that the purpose of being involved in this drink stream,
So good.
that Rob's stream is all about quality. I would love for us to all drop in on his stream one Monday and just be like, hey, mate, we're so fucking drunk. And then just see how he responds. Princess Wigglebottom knocking over some boxed wine, which is, we call that drinking out of the goon sack or the silver lady in Australia, because the bag of wine is silver. And so it's called the silver lady. And if you drink directly from the silver bag, it's called kissing the silver lady. And it's well known in uni students to be great, because if you're at a party and you drink a whole bag of it, you can then like breathe back into it, into like the thingy, the faucet, I guess, to inflate it, and you have a pillow to sleep on in their lounge room. And I don't want to talk about how many times in my life that I've done that, but it's definitely all right. Yep. Sir Grail's drinking Scotch whiskey. I hope it's single malt and not blended, but that's okay. If there's a couple of nice blends out there, I love you for drinking Scotch whiskey. Lugnuts, we've established, is drinking a cider. Oh, Sir Grail is Ballantines. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Molotov saying would kill for a pickled Caesar. Now, Erik, I was introduced to a Caesar over the weekend.
You were. Yeah, you didn't.
I was
didn't
not
seem to
inspired by the Caesar.
I know.
I felt more like I was Caesar in the moment that he's stabbed by Brutus. Because the first two drinks I ordered disappeared like that. And then I ordered that Caesar and it just slowed everything down. Because it was like I was drinking... It was like I was licking the side of an old fish station. You know, like on the pier where they go fishing.
It's a breakfast. That was your problem, is you drank it at night. It's really a breakfast drink. You need to
it's a hangover drink. I established that. But the last thing I'm thinking, when you have a hangover, do you go, shit, I would kill to drink clams?
The thing about them is they're salty,
true.
right?
Yeah.
So you get salt from the clam, and then you get the fruit from the tomato, and then you get the alcohol. So you get
I guess it's all in there. But to be completely honest, I barely want a Bloody Mary when I'm hungover. The last thing I want is a Bloody Mary plus fermented clams.
Plus,
they're not
they're
great. Canada, I don't know how long you've been kidding yourselves, telling yourselves that fermented clams is a drink. It's not a drink. Renaissance is drinking a domestic, obviously, a beer, delicious. Gnomesbane would drink anything with a fun label, which I can think is pretty decent. Princess Wigglebottom wants me to do a show where I match armies to alcohol. You're going to see me die live on air, because you know I have to drink everything I match armies to, which is not bad, but also you will see a human death live on Twitch, which not everyone's done, but is a fan of it. People saying that they chew me up. You know what? The other thing I drank, Erik, for the first time, was a Mexican bulldog.
Oh yeah, I noticed there was a lot of fish bowls going around.
Run me by the logic of that.
I had no part of that. I don't understand what's going on there. It seemed to be a margarita with a beer.
That's exactly what it was. And
and I don't understand.
I think the thing that confused me most was the etymology of the bulldog, because French bulldogs are adorable. And like, praise the Lord, one day I will possess a French bulldog and he will be present, or she will be present on the stream at all given times. But a Mexican bulldog I've never heard of as an actual animal. And if your answer is to just shove a beer in a margarita, I don't know that makes it Mexican, even if the beer's a Corona. You know? So I guess this is my question to you. The Mexican bulldog, is that Canadian? Do you understand it?
I'm gonna say probably not. Definitely not.
It's a fishbowl of hate. There was a shot I was introduced to. Nemesis introduced me to. Oh, sorry. Yeah, there you are in the chat. I almost couldn't remember what it was called. So thank you. a Rocky Mountain bear fucker.
Oh, yeah, that's horrible.
There was 3 of us that did it, myself, him, and Jack from Rerolling Ones. We all did it at the same time, and our response was this. Like, we did the shot, and we were like, not bad. And then after about 10 seconds, we were all like, oh no. That, like, deep burn where you're like, I just did some damage there. You know, like that was the burn that went down. So I learnt more about Canada. I don't want to know who it was that named it a Rocky Mountain bear fucker. Like, at what point that was logical.
It definitely all seems to be punishment based.
I'm waiting for Canadian drinks that are like, this just tastes good. Because at this point in time, my experience of Canadian drinking has been, we take something delicious and make it hurt you. Like a pickleback, Jameson, delicious. Pickle juice, like being fucked in the throat by a cucumber. Not delicious. A Caesar, it's like, it's a Bloody Mary, which I'm like, that's good. That's a necessary evil. Like, a Bloody Mary will keep you alive when you're dead. And then we put clams in it. I'm like, no, don't. The answer to what does this drink need is not more clams. So anyway, to leave the alcohol sidetrack for a little while, because obviously this show is about Warhammer and not about alcohol. I'm just a borderline drunk. What was your takeaway from the event, from your list? I know that there's Kippers Melee coming up. Are you going to that?
I don't think I can make it. I have a fishing trip the weekend before, and I don't think my wife will let me go 2 weekends in a row after already having gone to Attack X this weekend, and then in 2 weeks fishing, and then the week after Kippers.
So abandonment issues probably is right there. I'm well aware of them.
Right. Great, but this tournament was maybe my favorite one I've been in. It was amazing. I had 5 excellent games against great opponents, and Andy did a great tournament. It was super organized. There weren't any issues. It was great. Yeah, it was awesome. And there were so many cool armies. Like, no one's playing like your standard stuff. Everyone's playing a cool, interesting list that they thought about and spent a lot of time on. And it was just fantastic.
Yeah, I guess, like, and the thing that I'd like to talk about as well is, like, you had 5 awesome games. You also hedged your bets on having those games by having a list that's fun to play against. You know, it's not the busted kind of stuff that you see coming to every list. It's very different. And yes, it's fucked to go into something and be like, I not only can't kill you, my inability to kill you kills me. You know, like not only that, but it's also because it's a fun list to go up against. It's interesting, and even if it beats you, you're like, fuck, man, that was kind of cool. And also, you're a lovely bloke. Like, let's just add that into the equation. But you really hedged your bets on having a good time. So
I mean, like, everyone wants to kill the dragon, and I want you to try to kill the dragon, right? So we both get to do what we want to do. The dragon goes in the middle, and then we get to see what happens.
Yeah,
you know, it's awesome.
And also your move of being like, I'm not even going to deploy it last. I'm not even going to pretend that the dragon is that. I'm going to put him down first and be like, this is the thing that will kill you, or you will kill it. Nothing in between.
Yeah, you respond to me. You know, I'm deciding what's happening.
Okay, well, look, we're almost to the end of all the shit that we need to talk. I just super quickly want to know your opinion on Gotrek. How do we feel about that?
I think he moves 4 inches.
Right.
And can't be teleported for any reason.
So you're not concerned about his pace, basically.
Yeah, so I feel like the rest of the stats
to be completely honest with you, I think much the same thing. I think he's brutal. I think the fastest he can move a turn is 6 inches, and then you could run him, which still makes him slower than most other models on the board in the same circumstances.
Yeah, you only have to invest an extra 500 points to make him do anything.
That's it. You got to build an entire list about allowing him to do his job, which is not ever going to really concern me. But some people are obviously very concerned about him. I don't think we'll see him that much, and it's all cool.
There's the that his whole army is built.
Anyway, but I guess that one super quickly to touch on that. We were going to talk about the corn list that won, but you know what? That can be a conversation for another show. I'll see if I can actually get the winner on. Maybe if I can grab him and loop him in and to talk about it. It was Corn, by the way. Corn won, and it was a Tyrants of Blood Gore Pilgrims list. So like the biggest and the smallest of the War Scroll battalions together. The battalion that's 3 Bloodthirsters and the battalion that's a bunch of shit kickers. But I guess the thing that I just super quickly like to just kind of finish on before we get to the way I end every show is what for you would be the thing you're looking forward to at your next event? Will you take this list? Are you looking for something that will give you a reason to take a different list? Like what's the next thing you're looking to do?
I don't know. I mean, the nice thing is I had sort of written off Stormcast after the GHB came out and just trashed everything that everyone was playing. And then now it's made me excited to play the army and find something cool to do with it. So I have a list with the Wizard Battalion that flags that could be fun. So I might play around with that for the next little while.
Yeah, okay, so it's kind of more like you're excited about the other shit that you can put together. Which, after going 3 and 2, and on the cusp of potentially going 4 and 2, with a Stardrake cavalry list, is pretty fucking awesome. I have only one last question for you, sir. Now, in all the Mortal Realms, which character do you think handles a hangover the worst? And this also goes out to the chat. Now, just like every episode, I never prep you on this. You've had no preparation time. This also, chat, feel free to throw it in there.
Yeah.
But which character? So it can be any leader. Let's go any leader. Which leader character do you think handles a hangover the worst?
I feel like the Celestin Prime is like a lonely drunk, right? He never gets to hang out with the rest of the army.
Yeah.
Right? He's always like by himself, and I picture him just like drinking himself like to and just to a drunken stupor every night, and then just being constantly like the stubble, and then having to go in
and every time
guys.
He's turning up with a different crew as well. He's not just turning up with the same people. He's like, fuck these guys. All right, let's do it. Yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah, exactly. He's like one of like a jaded cop, just like.
Yeah, okay, fair. I see that. I can see him as being the person who's just like, he drinks to forget, but then every day he has to remember again. Like it's just like, it does. No matter what I do, it never stops. Yeah, they just keep calling. There's nothing. Lug Nuts to Mad jumping in the chat with orcs is the answer before actually hearing the question. Which is often, it's good. I'm sure someday that's going to pay off for you, but 9 times out of 10, it's a negative thing, so that's okay. For those who may have joined us late, the question that we are answering, which it is the very end of the show, so we are ending on the question, is which leader character in the Mortal Realms handles a hangover the worst? For me, I'm actually thinking that it'd probably be, I'm going to say Skagrot, the Loon King. I think the Loon King handles it the worst, because think about it, right? He barely holds together his tenuous place by abusing a whole lot of people. He turns people into fucking fungal seers. Yeah. He plays a lot together to make it work. So I feel like when he has a hangover and he just can't life, he's like, no, I can't do this. I just can't. And he's like, but he also knows, right, that if he doesn't get his shit together, people are going to start asking questions. Yeah,
that's true. So it's just a horrible grind.
He's hungover and he's just like, oh, there's so much to do. And the second if I don't, fucking Jimmy down the road is going to take my hat and say he's the new Loon King. So that's it. Red Asante says Arkan the Black, which I totally see. He's Arkan the Black. So you just know his bedroom is full of My Chemical Romance posters. Yeah. And so he gets hungover. He's got nothing to do with it. I think Princess Wigglebottom is suggesting that it's perhaps me. Cool Bunny is saying possibly Marathi. Which, I see that.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, a little bit too much red wine.
And also wakes up as a snake lady. That's not just like I woke up looking rough. I woke up with a snake tail and snakes for hair. Okay, Birth, Sir Grail, and Gunmage saying Dreicher. But I feel like the problem with Dreicher is she's just set to angry or depressed 24/7.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, which is perfect for hangovers, right? You're either angry or depressed. Usually you're irritable or you're,
Gracie Robb saying Thankwall after doing Warpstone cocaine. Or potentially probably a Great Unclean One because very used to barfing. But I think a Great Unclean One purges the night before.
Yeah, probably. And probably during and probably
the Great Unclean One doesn't get drunk because one of his attacks is vomiting. So he just keeps vomiting constantly. Yeah. He can't get drunk. He's like, this is my curse. Andy Selwood commenting the Necromancer just looks like he's had a rough night, which is fair. Double Dealer saying the Tidecaster because it's got sea legs. Like stumbling around. Yep. The Rune Father. Which, like, I get it, but I think the Rune Father is, like, poor, has poor social skills at the best of time. Rune Father's always looking at you like you're a piece of shit. Yeah. When he's hungover, you're like, I'm just a bigger piece of shit right now. Gnomes Bane's saying Vandus Hammerhand, totally. You can see that, right? Vandus Hammerhand thinks he's the best of the Stormcast, so suddenly he gets hungover and he's like, maybe I'm not the best.
Yeah, now no one takes him anymore, so he started drinking.
Yeah, that's it. Now he's just by himself. He's like, I used to be cool when the starter set was good.
Yeah, I was king of it all.
Yeah, back before command abilities. Nemesis says Rodigus because he's always on the verge of puking. But we covered that. Couldn't possibly get drunk. Thank you so much, Erik. It's been a pleasure having you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And is there anything last you'd like to leave, given that you are the Star Drake Desolator champion currently? Is there anything you'd like to leave us with before we tittle off?
Just that I stole this idea from Alex, and so I just need to acknowledge that so that he can take that list.
It's a stolen way. You're acknowledging that you took something that was somebody else's idea, and you turned it into something beautiful.
Yeah, because if you can't steal ideas...
How are you going to come up with ideas if you're not stealing them? Like, honestly, we can't all be James Cameron and not see Fern Gully and make a movie that's definitely not Fern Gully. Exactly. Cheers. Thanks, man. And thank you, everyone who was in the chat. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week, and we'll see you then. See you, Erik. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.